And you on it, but you never look my way. What up? What up? What up? Turkey Day. Watching these sorry ass Cowboys. They looking real super whack right now. Yep, touchdown. Yes, sir. Nice job, boys. Nice job. He might be a little short. No, he didn't get in. He was short. No. What up? What up? What up? What up? Nah, he was short. He didn't get in. Absolutely. Let's have a conversation about it. Sure. I'm down. Ian, what's up, brother? Sauce, what's up, brother? Happy Turkey Day, T-Bone. Nice to meet you, my man. Cash, what's up, brother? Happy Turkey Day to you. Juan, my good man. Happy Turkey Day. Josh, my good man. Running good. What's up, Andrew? How you doing? King 90, what's up, brother? Doing all right? Word. Who do I think will be in the Hall of Fame but won't get in? I don't think that there's a lot of guys. There aren't any guys that I think are Hall of Fame worthy that have not gotten in. There might be some guys that are not on the top 50 or top 75 list that I thought would have been on that list, but there aren't anybody. There isn't a guy that I think should be in the Hall of Fame that's not in the Hall of Fame. No. Not a top 10 in your eyes. That's, of course, he was in year 6. He was basically a better version of Scottie Pippen when he got hurt. He was on his way to being a better version of Scottie Pippen before he got hurt. He was all NBA 5 of those 6 years. He wasn't on a very good team he was on an okay team in Detroit, but he hadn't even reached his peak. So we're talking about a dude who he was absolutely on. I thought he was on his way to being a top 10 player. No question in my mind. No, Bron ain't shut nobody up. These people, the Lakers got so many different problems, man. So many different problems that it's completely. The problems that the Lakers got are way bigger than James, and they way bigger than Russ. And with James coming back, he's not shutting up anybody. Nobody is he shutting up. So he could have had 50 last night. He could take the Lakers back to the finals. It's going to be, well, look, he had a bomb squad. It's going to be some nonsense like that. So no matter what it is, and to answer that question, you're talking about a dude 21, 6, and 7 in your eyes. Okay, let me make sure I'm understanding this correctly. Grant Hill was in year 6 when he got hurt. If he continues at that pace, and he wasn't even in his prime, but if he continues at that pace and he plays, I don't know, let's say another 6, 7 more years at that pace, that's a 13-time All-NBA performer at minimum. 13-time All-NBA performer. And I'm sure there would have been some first-team All-NBA performances in that. I'm sure of that. I don't know if he would have stayed in Detroit, but I don't know if he would have stayed in Detroit. I think that he would have left Detroit at some point because they weren't really building around him. That's why he went down to Orlando. People need to understand it won't be long before we won't have any top 25 all-time playing anymore. I don't know what that means, my man. Stackhouse was a good player. Stackhouse wasn't a great player. Stackhouse injury did not slow Stackhouse down. Stackhouse was a journeyman, and he was buckets. No question about that. I think he led the league he was second in the league in scoring in the 99-2000 season. He didn't get hurt. That was not his problem. It didn't work in Philadelphia. He thought that they were going to build that thing around him, only except they went and got Allen Iverson, and then they moved on from him, and then he went to Detroit, and then it didn't work in Detroit because him and Grant Hill didn't work. I mean, I'm sorry, Grant Hill ended up leaving, and then he ended up in Dallas, and they ended up in the NBA Finals. He was not hurt. He was healthy. I don't really know what to do with the Cowboys because, like I said, when I think about the Cowboys, I'm looking at a team that they can either get bounced in the first round of the playoffs or they can make it to the NFC Championship. That's the Cowboys. That's not everybody in the NFC, but that's absolutely the talent level of the Cowboys. No doubt. My favorite Kentucky Wildcat? Oh, I'm a little biased because my best friend went to Kentucky. He played on the Wildcats from 92 to 95. So that's Rod Rhodes. Mm-hmm. Randolph Childress. Oh, man. What happened to Randolph Childress? He was at Wake Forest frying people in the ACC, and it just didn't work in the NBA. I don't know why, but it just didn't. I think the problem with Bol is he's got a motor issue. I don't think that it's not that Mike Malone doesn't want to. It's not that Michael Malone doesn't want to play him. From what I understand, he's lazy. That's his issue. He's lazy, and he's very. And when you have that rap on you, where you just don't want to work, that follows you. Now I don't know how true that is, but that's the rap on him is that he's lazy. You think that if he wasn't, if that Mike Malone with all the talent that Bol has, that he doesn't want to play him? There has to be something else there. There has to be something else there. Yes, he has, Ahmad. That's a fact. I understand now, John. So the top 25 players, James is going to be gone. KD is going to be gone in a little bit. Brian is gone. So these guys are all going to be gone. I guess it makes sense. With Nate Robinson, you was in the building that night. When Carmelo got into that fight. Yeah, I can dig that. Absolutely can dig that. Yeah, it was. Well, Russ started slow in Houston, and then he started slow again in Washington. So I'm not surprised by what's going on here, but I do think that he's going to get it together. I do. That's dope that you was in the building for that. Yeah, that is super dope. I remember. I remember that fight that night too. I think Carmelo ended up with something crazy like a 13 or 15 game suspension, something like that. He damn sure did punch dude in his face. Yeah, he did. Hmm. The problem that we have in John is everybody, that's all they do is look toward the future. All I hear on the regular from people, yo, who win an NBA championship? Like, yo, it's a month into the season. You think the Warriors got a shot to go to the finals? Give me a break, man. I keep going back to this reference where, yo, you went on a date, you on a date with a chick, and she asking you, yo, you gonna marry me? Yo, we've been on 3 dates. And already you want to know if I'm wifing you. Give me a break. We ain't even had a fight yet. That was an offensive foul, by the way. Yep, he was there, and it was before Anthony Edwards got off the ground. Now, if Anthony Edwards was already off the ground and he ran up under him, that's a block. But he was still on the ground when Anthony Edwards he was on the ground and he was already set for the charge. Iverson, I think I want to take it a step further than that. Not just against the Knicks. I think they sweep this East Coast road trip. They beat Cleveland. I think they beat the Knicks. I think they're going to beat Brooklyn too. The way they rolling right now, absolutely. I'm loving what Phoenix is doing right now. Every bit of it. Talk about that. Talk about Scotty Barnes. I see what Scotty Barnes is doing. I absolutely see what Scotty Barnes is doing. I want to talk about Scotty Barnes in 2 months though. When we get into the dog days of the NBA season, that's what I want to talk about him. Draymond Green is not a dark horse Hall of Famer. Draymond Green is a Hall of Famer. He might even be a first ballot Hall of Famer. Oh, 09. James was at the free throw line versus Chicago and Joakim Noah. Yeah, that was in Cleveland. That was in Cleveland. That was right before the playoffs. I remember that. I do remember that. I think I personally, I think that they sweep in this road trip. I think that they're going to beat the Knicks, and I think they're going to beat Brooklyn too. Think about that for a second. Scotty Barnes leads rookies in scoring, assists, and everything. A month into the season. The season started a month ago. Literally a month ago on Monday, the season started. And you already handed him the rookie of the year. I want to have this conversation with you in 2 months when we get into the dog days of the season. Can LeBron be the GOAT when he is too scared to take pressure free throws? Too much sauce. There's no way you believe that. No way that you believe that. And to even say something like that suggests to me that you don't even watch James. You clearly do not watch James. He's too scared to take pressure free throws. Are you serious, man? Yeah, I don't know if anybody's doing that. Josh Giddey is solid. Yeah, Josh Giddey looks like he's really solid. I like what he's doing. He's solid. The Oklahoma City team, they basically building it from the ground up. So in 5 years, when they're in the playoffs, I don't want to hear nobody talking about Josh Giddey, like where did he come from, and Shea, they built this thing from the ground up. So I'm not interested in listening to nobody in 5 years when this team is in the playoffs and making real noise. In 3 to 5 years, when they're in the playoffs and they making real noise, I don't want to hear nobody, yo, where does dude Josh Giddey come from? Or where did Shea come from? They building this thing literally from the ground up. And that's exactly what's going to happen. They're a super team. Nah, don't, Oklahoma City is building this thing from the ground level. No, I don't. I don't listen to stuff like that. I really don't, because that's nonsense. James scared to go to the free throw line and take pressure free throws. I wouldn't be surprised, Ahmad, if they do that. I'm mad if they do that. Hmm. That's what OKC is doing. They starting all over, and literally from the ground up. I think they got from now until 2026. I think they got like 13 ones. So that's 2 first-round picks for the next 5 years. At minimum, that's 2 first-round picks over the next 5 years. You don't even have to go to 09. You could put this conversation about him going to the free throw line to bed very simply. In the 2016 NBA Finals in Game 7, Kyrie Irving hit a three to put the Cavs up 92-89. It's a 1-possession game. The Cavs come back, the Warriors come back down, and the Cavs stop them. Guess who had to go to the stripe to ice the game? James. He had to go to the stripe to ice the game with 6 seconds. He misses both those free throws. We still got a 1-possession game. He goes to the free throw line and ices the game. It doesn't get any, I don't think it gets any bigger than that. It does not. I don't think Devin Booker made the Suns lose the finals more than Giannis and Middleton and Drew Holiday and PJ Tucker and Bobby Portis made them win it. Devin Booker couldn't do anything about what Giannis was doing to DeAndre Ayton. Devin Booker couldn't do anything about that. Nothing. So it's a 2-possession game with 6 seconds on the clock. Game's over. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So for as long as I can remember, there hasn't been any basketball on Thanksgiving for as long as I can remember. And I mean pro basketball. And I think that's largely due to the fact that they don't compete with football. And it does make sense. I understand that. I definitely understand that. Bob is absolutely he is. He's a really good stretch 4. Mm-hmm. King, you can't. Well, Devin Booker's a ball hog, and he let his team down. If he didn't pass it down to CP3 in Game 6, they could have won. So we're gonna leave out the fact that I think that the Suns had zero in that game 6. I think they had 0 transition points in the second half. That was Devin Booker fault. I don't know about that, my man. I mean, they got out rebounded in that game. So I'm not 100% ready to just blame this on Devin Booker. Nah. You were there for that? Hmm. My thoughts on Kevin Porter Jr. is that the Houston Rockets have a long way to go. I think that he's a good young player, but when I look at what Houston is doing, they gotta. That's awesome, by the way, that you was there for that. That is super dope that you was there for that. Let me just put that out there. But I think he's a good young player. I don't know if he's a star. What I don't know what they're doing in Houston. Who are they building it around? What the plan is going forward? They actually talking about firing Paul Silas, Kevin Porter, Kevin Porter Jr. I remember him in Cleveland, and now he's in Houston. He's getting playing time, which is good, which is good for him. But I think he's a good young player, and he's on a bad team right now. So that's all I can really say about him. Hmm. And you were right too. Russ is not the problem. That is a fact. Vogel they got a defensive problem. They got a rotation problem. They got a continuity problem. I mean, I said this a couple of days ago. When Carmelo Anthony is your best defensive player, we got problems, real problems. No, it wasn't game 5. That was game 6. That was game 6. Because if they lose that game, that series is over. That series is over. They go back home for game 7 and end it. Hmm. That was game 6, my man. I'll never forget that. The Celtics was up 3-2. Hmm. They lose that game, the series is over. We are done. Avery Bradley is their best defender, and he was actually the one who got them back in the game against the Knicks. But I'm watching, they have stretches where Carmelo Anthony is your best defender on the floor. I'm like, no, we can't do that. And I think the good thing that Vogel has figured out is he's not putting Russ and Jordan, he's not putting Russ, Jordan, and Rondo on the floor at the same time. Thank you for not doing that. That is very smart. I'm glad you stopped doing that. Hmm. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought he was talking about the Celtics. You talking about game 5. You can make the case for Hakeem being the most skilled 5 of all time. Yeah, you can definitely make that case. Money mid-range game, great in transition, can handle it. He the best low post player in terms of offense that I've ever seen. In terms of a mixture of offense that I've ever seen. I can make the argument that he is the best defensive 5 man ever, or not the best defensive 5 man, the best defensive player because of how versatile he was. So yeah, Melo can defend. It's just that he can only do it in stretches. Melo has never been a guy that is going to shut the door on anybody. But Melo is a solid defender in stretches, and now that he's a little long in the tooth, it's going to be a little difficult for him to. It's going to be a little difficult for him to keep that up. Oh, I was in the building that night too, that afternoon too. I was absolutely there. Yes, sir. I was in the building that afternoon. I'll never forget. It was a Sunday afternoon. Yes, I was in the building for that. I used to live in the Bay Area. That's a large problem that the Lakers are having with Anthony Davis not wanting to play on the block. And is that even true that he doesn't want to play on the block? Like, what's really the problem here? I was there. Yes, I was. I was absolutely there. I was absolutely there. Yes, I was. I was about, let's see, I was about 10 rows up. I was in row, I had really good seats too. And yeah. It's interesting you mentioned that too, King, because you know that Terrence Mann is only averaging 9 points a game. So that was a fluke. Okay. That's first of all. Number two, this Rudy Gobert being overrated. The Utah Jazz got, I think they're in the top 5 in the league in defense right now. So let's dead that whole Mitchell and Gobert overrated. No, they're not. That was a fluke last year. Not to mention, Quinn Snyder can do a better job at making adjustments. That whole Terrence Mann dropping 40, he averages 9 a game. 9. So we could kill that. Do you think the Lakers are less bad boys like the Pistons and more sore losers? I don't know where you're coming from with that. Sore losers in what way? I had a kid sitting right next to me who I remember he hit a jumper on a baseline. And this was in the second quarter. I'm looking at it like it was yesterday. He hit a jump shot in the corner, about a 17, 18-foot fall away in the corner. And this kid sitting right next to me says, he's with his father, and he says, damn, how does he do that? And I said, young fella, you're looking at a professional. Because that's what it looked like to me. I was like, yo, that's a pro right there. No doubt. What do you mean? Where's that defense in the playoffs? They took Denver, who went to the Western Conference Finals. They took Denver. Denver beat them on a last second buzzer beater in what was it? Game 7 of that series. Game 7 of that series. And last year against the Clippers, I think that it was a lot of that had to do with adjustments. It wasn't like Terrence Mann has been is synonymous for what he did. The dude averages 9 points a game, and he's not synonymous for knocking down 3. I think he averages 1 3 a game. What, he had 7 in that game? Give me a break, man. I don't think that's ridiculous. I actually thought the Knicks had a shot to beat the Pacers in that series. I did. I thought that they had a shot to beat them, no doubt. Mm-hmm. Not only can you make the argument that Rudy Gobert is the Jazz best player, you might be successful in making that argument because I don't think that they utilize him offensively nearly enough. Did you see what he was doing when he was on the French national team? How they incorporated him in the offense, him being a rim runner, him around the basket, him in picking dives, him in picking lobs, how much they utilized him offensively. The Jazz don't utilize him nearly as much. I think Donovan Mitchell takes a lot of bad shots, and I think a lot of those bad shots are primarily due to 2 and 3 guys hanging on him. Rudy's wide open underneath the basket, and I've made videos on TikTok about this. So happy Thanksgiving, man. Good to see you, brother. What team would I like to see Turner in if the Pacers are selling? Oh, I would love him in Miami because that means that Bam can move to the 4. If Indiana is selling, if Miami calls up, what do you want for him? Anything outside of our core, Jimmy, Lowry, Duncan, you can have whatever else you want because you get Turner down there and put him at the 5 and move Bam to the 4. Forget it. They rolling. I don't think Curry is a point guard neither. In fact, Ja, when I think about Steph Curry, not even when I think about Steph Curry, when you think about Steph Curry, what's the first thing that comes to mind? King, Bam is absolutely a 4. You don't even know what a 4 is. Do you know what a 4 is, King? Are you aware of what a power forward is? So we clear. Do you? But hold on. Before I talk to anybody else, I want to talk to King. King, explain to me what a power forward is. Tell me what the 4's responsibility is. I'm interested to know that from you. Thanksgiving was good, absolutely. But I want to talk to King right now. Let's go, King. What is the 4? What is a 4-man? What is his job? So tell me what a 4 is, so I'm clear. If you don't think Bam is a 4, what is a 4? I'm interested to know what exactly is what is the 4's responsibility? Once again, you're getting off the subject here. Are you seriously saying Bam is a 4? Tell me what a 4 is. That's what I'm asking you right now. What is a 4? He didn't play the 5 at Kentucky, so let's dead that right now. But once again, what is a 4? What does the 4 do? No, the 4 does not play with his back to the basket. That would be the 5, sir. The 4-man is the dirty work guy. The 4-man rebounds, which is what Bam does. The 4-man defends, which is what Bam does. The 4-man runs the floor and gets out in transition, which is what Bam does. So all of those things, now couple that in with him being able to handle the basketball and knock down the mid-range. And now we're going to enhance his offense by giving him a 5-man who rebounds also and rim protects, so he doesn't have to do that. And he can move to his natural position of the 4. The 4-man does play, the 4-man doesn't play with his back to the basket nearly as much as the 5. Except Bam can't shoot. You have not watched Bam because Bam has a really good mid-range game. And it would be so much better if he played the 4 because he wouldn't have to play down low. because now his game would expand, which is why I would love to see if the Miami Heat could somehow finagle to get Turner and move Bam to the 4. Man, I think he would be great. Does he have a 3-point game? Wait a minute. What four in the game is shooting the long ball? I'm because now you turning this into something completely different. What 4-man in the game is shooting the long ball regularly? Go ahead. Okay. Anthony Davis. Keep going. Keep going. So we got one guy. Who else is shooting the long ball regularly at the 4? And let me ask you this question about Anthony Davis. Let me ask you this question about Anthony Davis. With him shooting the long ball, where else does he shoot where he's really good? Go ahead. Where else does Anthony Davis shoot where he's really good? One more time, Ahmed. One more time for the people in the cheap seats, Ahmed. Where else does Anthony Davis shoot when he's really good? So I'm 100% clear. So I in the mid range. Now, when I just said what I just said about Bam, where is Bam really good at? Where he can just get much better at? Where else could Bam get much better? In the mid range. Now we talking. So now we move Bam to the 4, and his mid range game expands even more. Why are you worrying about a long ball? Why are you worrying about a long ball? And did I say that he was anywhere near AD at the mid range? But did I not say that he has a good mid range game? Bam is not scoring 17, 18 a game off dunks and jump hooks. Bam has a really good mid range game, and he's a really good one-on-one player too. So to move him to the 4, oh, he would be so much better. PJ Tucker will shoot what, 1-3 a game, maybe 2. I did eat vegan. I had my rice dish. I make a really good brown rice, spinach, green beans, brown rice, potatoes, broccoli, and green beans. Potatoes, broccoli, green beans, black beans, spinach, green peppers, tomatoes, and onions. It's a really good dish. And they got plenty of long ball shooters in Hero, in Duncan. But Bam playing the 4, he just looks to me naturally like a 4. That's what he looks to me like. And I just think he would be so much better at the 4 spot than anywhere else. No doubt. Mm-hmm. Jared Vanderbilt. I think Jimmy Butler is more. He plays the 2, but I think that he's more of a 3 than he is a 2. He's a smaller 3. What is Buckets about 6'6"? I think he's a smaller 3. Mm-hmm. which I think that he would, John. I think that if Bam played the 4, I think that his average would go up minimum 4 points. Minimum. I absolutely feel like that. He plays Buckets plays the 2 and the 3. But he played the 2. He played the 2 in Chicago. Yes, he did. He played the 2 in Minnesota. He played the 3 in Philadelphia because JJ Redick played the 2. And he's now playing the 3 in Miami. I don't know if Carmelo's the best one-on-one player of all time, but I will tell you this: you can make the argument there was a stretch from 08 to 13, and you can make the I can make the argument Carmelo Anthony was the best one-on-one player in the game for that 5-year stretch from 08 to 13, maybe even 14. He was the best one-on-one player in the game. Mm-hmm. Nah, nah, ma. Carmelo Anthony had a money mid-range game. He had a better mid-range game than James. He was really good, not just at getting to the basket, but getting to spots to score. He had a money pull-up game. James had a really good pull-up game too. But James wasn't as good as Carmelo in the mid-range. He was not. He was not. And not to mention, Carmelo had a lot of 4s switched on to him. So he created a lot of mismatch problems too at 6'8". A lot. Mm. So if I'm thinking about one-on-one players of all time, so not over Carmelo Anthony's like in his prime, we talking about of all times. There's a bunch of guys that I can name, man. I think Alex English would give him work. I think Adrian Dantley would give him work. I think Bird would give him work. I think James Worthy would give him work. I think George Gervin would give him work. I think Mark Aguirre would give him work. That's just guys from the the 80s, from the 90s. When you're talking about the small forward spot, I think Grant Hill would give him work. Um, I think Jordan would give him work. I think Drex would give him work. Hmm. I don't think Penny Hardaway was a great one-on-one player. I think Penny Hardaway was a great transition player. And I think that he was good at picking his spots in the half court within the offense. I don't think he was a great one-on-one player. Hmm. That thing in OKC just didn't pan out, man. And it didn't work because of the mixture of guys. Like Carmelo moving to the 4, having Paul George play the 3, Roberson was at the 2 and he couldn't shoot to save his life. That was a tough mix of guys. A really tough mix of guys. I didn't like Carmelo. But not only did I not like Carmelo at the 4 in OKC, the logic was that he was washed. And I was like, no, he not. He's just playing in the wrong position. He's just playing the wrong position. I think Gilbert Arenas ruined his own career. I think he was on his way to being an all-time great before he did that nonsense. I think he was on his way to being something special. At 29, there's no way. At 29 years old, if I was playing against a bunch of 15-year-olds, nah. There's no way a bunch of 15-year-olds would have served me. At 29, nah, I still was really athletic. So at 29, I could still dunk the ball backwards at 29. So I say that about, to be honest with you, I say that about guys today. 20 years ago, I think that I would have given. That's why I don't play basketball anymore, because not because I can't. I mean, I can still go. I can still get up and down the floor. I can't play the way I used to play. So I can't get out there against a guy that I know that when I used to be able to play, I would have destroyed this guy. I can't get out there against guys like that. I can't do it. The Raptors have a really good developmental program. Yeah, they do. Yeah, I will agree with that. They do. They have a really good developmental program. No doubt. Where can Bagley go? What exactly is Bagley? Because I know that before he got hurt, I think he was something like 14 and 9, something like that. Which those aren't pedestrian numbers. I think that those are solid numbers. But for a guy who's the second pick in the draft, I expect so much more from him. So did Sacramento ruin him, or does he have something left? No, I don't miss playing ball. I used to miss it. When I was younger, I used to miss it a lot. I don't miss it as much as I used to. There was nothing that I could do, because if I did anything different, then I wouldn't be here talking to you guys. And my life would have changed completely if I would have done, one thing changes everything. And if I decide not to go to this school, or I don't go to this school, then I ain't sitting here talking to you guys. So the Lakers need a rim protector. They got 3 rim protectors. They got Anthony Davis, Dwight Howard, and DeAndre Jordan. They got 3 rim protectors. They don't need no more rim protectors. What they do need is they need guys to do their jobs. That's what they need. That's what it is, more importantly. So the best thing that the Brooklyn Nets did was bringing back LaMarcus. And the worst thing that they did was getting rid of Jared Allen. They should have held on to him. No doubt about that. Because he's absolutely what they're missing in a rim protector. So absolutely what they're missing. Lennox, what's up, brother? Happy Thanksgiving to you. Mm-hmm. King, do you watch the Lakers? I mean, I watched them a couple nights ago against the Knicks. I mean, he did have 2 block shots. So to say that he can't rim protect, that's not true. Because I just told you he had 2 block shots. And not only did he have 2 block shots, I think he had 6 rebounds. He didn't play that much, but he still is viable as a rim protector. He might not be the elite rim protector that he used to be, but he's still a rim protector. Yeah. No, Mark, I am not particularly a religious guy. I don't do the religion thing. I do believe that there is something out here bigger than me, though. I'm not walking around here with the notion that you live, you die, and then that's the end. No, I do believe that there is something bigger than me. No doubt about that. Is D Rose a Hall of Famer? If D Rose doesn't make the Hall of Fame, he'll be the only league MVP and NCAA finalist not to make the Hall of Fame. You got plenty of shooters, so you see. You got Monk as a long ball shooter, Ellington as a long ball shooter, and none's gonna get back. So you don't need Eric Gordon. That's and not only do you not need Eric Gordon, the last thing that you need is to bring more people in. You already got 10 new guys. Now you want to switch it up and bring and you already have a continuity problem. Now you want to bring more people in. You're gonna completely screw this whole thing up. I don't want to do that. Hmm. Absolutely, John. Hmm. I had Valanciunas and because I've already mentioned this that him in him in New Orleans, he's wasting away down there, and it's making me nuts. I can't handle it. So if Dominique Wilkins played today, he'd be a top 10 player. And I don't say this lightly about a lot of guys. You can make the argument that this guy would be a top 10 player or that guy may be a top 10 player. If Dominique Wilkins played today, he is a top 10 player. No doubt about it. He goes in front of Luca. He goes in front of Dame. So whoever else you want to put in there, knock yourself out. But he absolutely goes ahead of those 2 guys. No doubt. I like Braun. Well, it depends on what the lineup is. Because if Draymond Green can play the 5, then Braun can play the 5 too. You can definitely do that. Valanciunas is not better than Joker. Mm-mm. It depends on what the lineup is, but if Draymond Green can play at the 5, I think James can play at the 5 too. Now James has a lot of lapses on defense, but I think that he would be solid at the 5, depending on what the lineup is. So if you got a lineup where it's Julius Randle, uh, RJ Barrett, uh, Obi Toppin, Quigley, and Kimber Walker, you can play James at the 5. I think that he can handle Julius Randle. I do. I did that. That did just run. Hmm. I ain't fighting you. You won't get an argument out of me. No, you will not get an argument out of. You can definitely make the argument that if Magic played today, he'd be the best player in the game. You can definitely make that argument, and it's a legit argument too. If Magic played today with his skill set, he'd be the best player in the game. Well, he's doing that right now, Sarim. I mean, John, he's doing that right now. Absolutely, he is. James is doing that right now. Except he can score the basketball, which is why I go back to this notion. James is a pass first guy. No, he ain't. Because if he was a pass first guy, he'd be passing more. That's why he scores like he does. James is a scorer who can pass. He would like to pass, but he is a scorer. Yo, King, when you think about Curry, what's the first thing that comes to mind when you think about him? What's the first thing you think about as a player when you think about Steph Curry? What's the first thing that comes to your mind? I did see that Anthony Edwards dunk. Absolutely. What's the first thing that comes to your mind when you think about Steph Curry as a player? Greatest shooter to ever touch a basketball. Shooting. Now, does lead guard come to mind when you think about Steph Curry? That's my question to you. Does lead guard come to mind? When you think about Steph Curry, it does not. So if you're saying that, then what is a lead guard to you? If you're saying that Steph Curry, you think lead guard, what is a lead guard to you? I'm interested to know that from you. Someone who makes their team better. So if that's the case, then Bird is a lead guard. That means Jordan is a lead guard. That means Giannis is a lead guard. That means Bryant was a lead guard. James is a lead guard. Kevin Durant is a lead guard. Is that fair or is that not fair? No, I'm not taking it out of context. I asked you a simple question. What do you think about when you think about a lead guard? You said it's somebody who makes their team better. So if that's what it is, then these guys are also guys who make their team better, which would make them, in your estimation, lead guards. Is that not correct? Curry's scoring is better than Magic. That's the difference. And the reason why I asked that, right, what my man Keyshawn is talking about, when I said that, I got ridiculed for it because I'm asking the question, right, as a lead guard, right, as a lead guard, should I not expect you as a lead guard? I know the game has changed, and I know the game is a lot different than it was 40 years ago, where the game was ran through the big man. But there are some things as a lead guard that have not changed. So your ability to run an offense, your ability to run a team, your ability to anchor your team, your ability to be the signal caller. So when I think about a lead guard, I'm thinking about Chris Paul, I'm thinking about Stockton, I'm thinking about Magic, I'm thinking about Steve Nash, I'm thinking about Jason Kidd. When I think about Steph Curry, I'm thinking about a long ball shooter. He doesn't do any the stuff that the guys that I just mentioned. He doesn't do any of the things that those guys do. None of them. And I also think that when I hear like stuff like that, when I hear stuff like Russell Westbrook is a stat pattern, what exactly does that mean? I want to make sure that I'm clear on that. A stat pattern is somebody who the stuff that he does, it's basically empty calories. So, for example, Dak Prescott, where his team is down 3 touchdowns in the middle of the fourth quarter, and he ends up throwing for 200 yards in the fourth quarter, and his team loses, and it makes it look respectable. That's a stat pattern to me, and it doesn't generate to anything. Every team Russell Westbrook has been on has been in the playoffs. Every team. Every team. Chris Paul is overrated. And I'm not a huge Russ fan. I'm not a huge Russ fan. If Russ makes his team worse, then why is it that every team he's on, they're at least in the playoffs? I mean, Washington didn't make the playoffs the year before Russ got there. Russ is there, they're in the playoffs. So what do you mean he makes every team worse? No, he doesn't. So that's not true. I can't picture CP3 coming off screens. That's not his game. You're going to wreck him doing that to him. You're going to screw Chris Paul all the way up if you got this dude running pin downs and down screens and you got him coming off screens shooting long balls. That's not his game. No. Well, that right there, except teams don't make it out of the second round. Well, it's interesting you mentioned that, but they still make it to the playoffs. They still make the playoffs. So when I think about that Houston team, he just got on the crew. It was a bad mixture of guys. That team was different from the team that went to the Western Finals. They added Russ. So when you talk about a guy in Kevin Durant, or when you talk about a guy in or that Oklahoma City team, I mean, they was in the West Finals, what, 3 times in 5 years? You know, Russ was 22-8 with Kevin Durant. And he did have some missteps, no doubt. No, that's not the point, King, because only one team wins it. So if that's the case, then you know that Steph Curry hasn't made the playoffs since he lost Kevin Durant. You know that you are aware of that, yes? Just because you don't win it? That's a nonsense argument. I'm not buying that. No. No way. We've already had this debate about Stockton over or Chris Paul over John Stockton. I don't think Chris Paul is a better point guard than John Stockton. I think he a better athlete. I think he a better scorer. I think that John Stockton, you got more out of him for a longer period of time. And nobody believes that, Lennox. Nobody believes that if you win it with Russ, if you got Russ as your number one guy, you're not winning it. Oh, nobody believes that. I'm not dumb enough to think that Russ, if Russ is my lead guard or he's my best player, we winning it. No, I'm not thinking it. Absolutely not. Mm-mm. What I am thinking though is if I put the right pieces around Russ, we got an opportunity to win. I do think that. I think that he's a viable piece to what we're doing, no doubt. I think they had a really good shot at beating the Rockets if Chris Paul would have been healthy. Yeah, I do think that. I think they had a really good shot at beating the Warriors. Really good shot in that game 7 because they had them on the ropes before Chris Paul got hurt. Absolutely, they did. That tryptophan, that tryptophan is setting in on my boy. Man, I don't think Derrick Rose is the most overrated player of all time. I do think he's overrated, though. I don't think he's the most overrated player of all time. No, sir, I am not James Posey. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Bill Russell is not the most overrated player of all time. That is not true, sir. Giannis still got some. He still got work to do. Even if he repeats this year, he still got work to do. Still got work to do. Because remember, Giannis has only had, in terms of greatness, winning the league MVP in back-to-back years, winning the Defensive Player of the Year, winning the NBA championship, winning the Finals MVP. That's only been for over three. That's only been a 3-year span. If we can, excuse me, if we can get him to play at this level, so, and I think I already had this discussion, but Giannis will be 27 next month. How many more years you think Giannis has at this level? Hmm. You give him 5 more years, Larry, 4, you give him 6. I think he's got 7 more years at this level before he starts to slow down. So over the next 7 years, if he can win the NBA championship again, win another Finals MVP, over the next 7 years, if he's first team All NBA, I don't know, 5 of the next 7 years. If he's an all league defender over the next 7 years again, we're gonna have to start having this conversation about him in the top 10 all time. We have to start having that conversation. Absolutely. Best team to never win the championship. Ain't that the 73-9 Warriors? It's either them or I think the 98 Jazz. Isn't Bill Russell's career high in 18 or 19? King, would you go do your homework, sir? Before you say stuff like that, would you go do your homework? Russell has consecutive seasons in the playoffs where he averaged 20 and 20. I don't know if you're aware of this, but there's a record in the NBA Finals of 40 rebounds in a game. Russ did that. That was Russ. Oh, I can't forget to leave out that he did have 30 points that night. Yeah, in game 7, he went 30 and 40 in game 7 of the NBA Finals. Come on, my man. You got to get your story straight. Come on, my man. Do better than that. That doesn't work. The percentage from the field. Russ was 45% from the field. That was the going rate for a big man at the time, with the exception of Chamberlain. Everybody else shot around 45% from the field. So don't make it sound like he was at the bottom of the pack, because he was not. He did average 18 a game for his career. He also averaged 22 boards. And he also averaged 20 and 20 twice, not in the playoffs, in the regular season. And in the playoffs, he did it too. I want to make sure we clear on that. One more time, James, for the people in the cheap seats. And by the way, that 30 and 40 you saying, don't leave out the fact that was game 7 of the NBA Finals. Game 7. Not if it's the going rate, yo. 45% is not horrendous if it's the going rate. Not if it's the going rate, my man. If everybody is Chamberlain was the only one. I mean, Chamberlain was the only guy who was shooting a higher field goal percentage. The going rate was about, like I said, the going rate was about 45%. And this is also nonsense too. So to say 30 and 40 against high school teachers. So that means that we gotta completely erase the 60s. That means that the 60s are gone because those high school teachers are the same teachers who Chamberlain was destroying them too. Just so you know, Jerry West was destroying those high school teachers. Oscar Robertson was destroying those high school teachers too. Hal Greer was killing them. Havlicek was killing these high school teachers. Nate Thurman, Willis Reed was killing these high school teachers. So if that's true, then that means that we got to get rid of the entire 60s, according to you. That means that the Celtics, all their championships go out the window. Rick Barry, everything that you was doing during that goes out the window too. All of that stuff. If we doing that. That's all I'm going to say about that. You have to be willing to erase all of that stuff too if you're saying that. You have to be. I think whenever I watch Anthony Edwards, the more I watch him, he just looks to me more like a more athletic version of Mitch Richmond. That's who he looks like to me. Mm-hmm. And I think that he's going to be an all-NBA performer. I think he's going to be an all-star for the coming years. I think he's going to be awesome. Hell yeah, I got Russell over Kobe. Yes, I do. I do have Russell over Kobe. I do have Russell over Kobe. Absolutely. I got Kobe 11th all time in NBA history. That's where I have him at, Larry. I think that Anthony Davis, when he is healthy and when he is playing like Anthony Davis, I think he's a top 5 player. But what he has shown me is his ability to continuously do it. And I think he's worried about getting hurt too. Yeah, I think he is, man. I think Anthony Davis is a top 5 player, not just when he's healthy, man, but I can't believe you just said that. See, stuff like that, King, that suggests to me that Kobe never went through what Kobe never went through what Bill Russell went through. How about Bill Russell having to go sleep in another hotel? Because remember, we're playing in the 60s where we had segregated hotels. How about Bill Russell being the first black head coach in the history of the NBA to win an NBA championship? Yeah, that's right. He was coaching the team and they won an NBA championship at the same time. What he didn't go through what Kobe went through? Are you serious right now saying something like that? That's not even. And the reason why you saying that, I firmly believe the reason why you saying that is because I think that you're a kid who I was the same way as you were when I was 15, when I was 17, because you couldn't tell me anything about Elgin Baylor. I was like, yo, Dominique Wilkins was better than him. That's of course until I did my homework. So now you have to go do your homework, my man. You have to. The Cowboys are going to lose this game. He never had to go through what Kobe had to go through. People breaking in his house and defecating on his bed. Kobe never had to deal with nothing like that. Having to go to Red Auerbach and tell him that I can't sleep in this hotel because I'm not allowed to sleep here. And Red Auerbach taking the entire team and going, we ain't sleeping here then. If he can't sleep here, then we ain't sleeping here. Coaching a team to 2 NBA championships while being a player. You want to talk about being overrated? I listen to you guys talk, and it suggests to me that you don't do your homework. And I think a lot of that is because you kids. And as kids, I was the same way, my man. So it's not a slight against you. I was the same way. Kobe dealt with a fake rape charge that he brought on himself, by the way. Why? Don't whoa. Stop right there. Don't make that sound like that was something that was manufactured. He brought that on himself. Bill Russell didn't bring on himself having to sleep in a different hotel. Bill Russell didn't bring on himself people breaking in his house and defecating on his bed. He didn't bring that on himself. So let's kill that. Nuh-uh. Let's kill that right now. Fake charges. No. I don't think they should have traded for Buddy Hield. Nah. Because it sounds good right now. They already got long ball shooters. Ellington's a long ball shooter. Nunn is a long ball shooter. Monk is a long ball shooter. These guys are awesome as long ball shooters. So they already got long ball shooters. The question is how are we gonna incorporate these guys into the offense? So that's the $1 million question. I'm watching the Cowboys. They losing right now. They're about to go into the fourth quarter. They down one score. And about to be two. Mm-hmm. King, you have no idea what you're talking about. None whatsoever. And that's fine that you feel that way. I'm good with that. But I would like to for you to say stuff like that. I would like for you to substantiate that with facts, but you can't. You can't. So, all right, guys, it's about that time for me, man. Yeah, me too. It's about that time for me, John. About that time for me to wrap it up. And it was good talking to you guys. Today is Thanksgiving. It's Thursday, so I'll probably talk to you guys again on Saturday. I'll be on again Saturday, and we could definitely do this again. I'm definitely feeling that, and we can talk more then. No doubt about it. No doubt. So, it's never nothing personal, my man. Ever. Never nothing personal. Come on, OG. Come on, OG. What, Midas? What's the story? What am I missing out? Before I go, what am I missing out on? What did I miss? Why do I suck? What's the problem? What did I miss? That's what if you take anything personally, then you shouldn't be here. No. That's what debates are. They're arguments. And those arguments are substantiated by facts. So, and if you take anything personal, then you shouldn't be hanging out. You can't hang here if you're taking anything personal, because that's what we do around here. No doubt about that. That's what we do around here. We talk basketball, and it gets heated sometimes. So, all right, guys. Again, it was good to see y'all. We'll do it again. I should be on this weekend again. So until then, take it light, but take it.